Hello, hello from Glastonbury. Just checking you can hear me all good. Becca here, and I'm really happy to be home in Glastonbury and very, very, very happy to share with you my latest creation. I announced it last week just before I got on a plane to come back here, and it's something I've been working on for all of last year, and it's really something I've been working on for about 10 years if I actually look back at it. The Rose has been a very deep mystical teacher for me, and I know many of you also are connected to the Rose and flowers and nature, and of course we all are. I believe that we are not just part of nature, rather we are nature. And particularly in the West, we have really caused so much harm by us forgetting that, by us seeing ourselves as separate from nature. That disconnection from nature makes, what it means to me is really being disconnected to the feminine, to the mother. And the rose has been a sacred symbol, a mystical symbol that many, many, many different mystics and poets and priestesses and people who worship the goddess have actually used as a symbol of the goddess, of the feminine. And you know, it was a few years back, probably about 6 years ago, I was in London and I had all these events planned, and I was with my friend Holly, and I remember confessing to her that, you know, I was feeling this pressure of having to stand on stage and talk and fulfill these commitments that I'd made, which I was very grateful to have the opportunity to host workshops and all of that. But I was also at the same time having this wrestle within myself where all I wanted to do when I was speaking on stage and when I was hosting workshops and circles was talk about the beauty of flowers, talk about the rose, talk about our connection with the earth. I look back in 2010 and way beyond that, even when I was a young girl growing up, and it was in nature that I heard the whispers from the ancestors, the whispers from my soul, the whispers from spirit. It was in nature that all came in, and it was through the awe of nature, the beauty of nature, that I noticed that my soul came more fully in that same way as poetry does and dance does, and sometimes incredible food and coffee and wine and the physical does. Through the senses, anything that captivates us through the senses pulls the soul in more. I call them gateways of the soul. And one of the greatest gateways for the soul for me is beauty and nature as well. And there's no other symbol or part of nature or part of anything on this planet from my point of view that does it better for me than the rose in calling the soul more fully here. And so I want to share with you the Rose Oracle. I created this with Katie Louise, who's a beautiful, beautiful soul and beautiful illustrator as well. As I said, we spent all of last year creating it, and actually it was the year before even that I was concepting it and calling in Katie, it ended up being, and yeah, just really, really working with the medicine of the rose. I've been consciously working with the rose since 2010. I remember when she first came to me in my flat in Highbury Barn. I was living at the time. It was on the 3rd floor up in the treetops, and I began just ordering herbs, actually, which I filled my flat with. And I started coming home from work. I was working quite long hours, and I noticed how I started talking to the herbs. And it was just like very second nature to me, just like connecting in with the spirit of the plants. It was then that I received guidance to follow what lit me up, and to follow the beauty way as well. And that's where I got the guidance to buy myself flowers every week. And back then I had to buy flowers because I didn't have much nature around me. Cut to now where I have a rose garden of my own. That came in a couple of years ago, a few years ago when we moved to Glastonbury. But I started noticing the medicine of the rose. A few what I call carriers of the rose, sisters of the rose, came into my life and started sharing the medicine of the rose, the power to use the oil to heal grief. This rose oil, and just working with the rose as well, particularly in those times where we feel cracked open. I found that the rose can really support us in, while we are on a healing path, to keep our heart open and courageous. When we go through difficult times, often we want to close down and shut off and cut away from the parts of humanity, the parts of being human that cause our heart to close, that cause us pain. And of course, we know that actually if we find the courage to open through the humanness, open through the difficulty, that's when real connection can happen. And so that was the case for me. And then little by little, I then discovered Regent's Park Rose Garden in London, which is just one of the most incredible places in the world, one of my favorite places. And on my morning walks there, that's when I first started hearing the whispers again that I heard in my apartment with the herbs, but then also many years ago, walking on the ocean, walking in the bush with my grandmother. When she first introduced me to the flowers, the first flower was the flannel flower, which is just such a beautiful flower of Australia. And yeah, every day I would walk in the rose garden and ask questions of the flowers, and I would receive. That was like using the beauty of the flowers to open a channel, I guess, to receive the whispers. And it turned into my first book as well. And so I've been working with the flowers for such a long time, but like most things which are soul-led, they're not that obvious at first. They kind of come in and kind of craft your path, maneuver you around, until one point you look back and you see, like, whoa, what a magnificent path that I couldn't possibly have, designed myself. And so that's really been the path of the rose for me. In my private time, I began studying plant medicine and working with the flowers through essences, through creating magic, bath rituals, and then also like rose infusions, rose oil, etc. Rose oil is very, very difficult to make. I normally just add rose oil into my oils because you need like thousands of roses to make rose oil, so I don't recommend trying. But yeah, and then it was a year and a half ago, roughly, almost 2 years ago, I was due to work on a different project, and all I could think of was the rose. And I shared it with my publisher, my editor, and she was like, absolutely, that needs to be what you begin on. And then I spent the next 6 months, probably actually more like 9 months all up, deep research of the mystical, botanical, and healing background of the rose. It is absolutely fascinating to see how the rose has really been a symbol for goddesses of old, particularly in times when, in my ancestry and Celtic ancestry here in Europe, when the church came and really conquered and absorbed a lot of the goddess temples of Venus and Aphrodite, for example, and many other different goddesses as well who use the rose as their symbol. And even just up the road here in Glastonbury, you'll see in the stone work the rose is present. Often the rose is that secret symbol, like so honoring the feminine, when the feminine perhaps wasn't able to safely be honored and be in devotion to. So I want to read to you what it says on the back, and then I'm going to open it up and show you the different parts of it. So it says, the rose is a symbol of goddesses of old, and she holds potent medicine for these times. This oracle creates space for you to connect with her energy, wisdom, and breathtaking beauty. May her healing mysteries call you home to your true nature. So this is it here. And I've kept my classic triangle box. You can see my manicure coming off. And so in here it says plant yourself here, and you'll see that the water element is really strong in this deck. To me, the rose, Mother Rose, really is connected to the Great Mother herself, Mother of the Waters, the original one, connected to the energy of Sophia as well. So you'll see a lot of water in here. And actually, my next project I'm working on with Katie is the Healing Waters Oracle. So we've got the guidebook. The guidebook's a lot thicker than my normal guidebooks because there was just so much research, so much that I wanted to write and share. And I think I will very likely write that in a book soon. And you'll see that there's color as well in this one. So it's just a spot color. And then there's this beautiful inside cover too. And then this is the only copy I have in the UK. I'm waiting for more to come. And so I have opened this myself, but you'll see it has a little slip here that holds the cards together, and it says unlock the sacred mysteries of the rose. And you open it, and in the back here, it's probably hard to see, but there's white Gallica roses, which are dog roses, wild roses, rock roses, but the Gallica is the original rose. And the original rose has been found in like many places of the world. 5-petaled rose in white and like a deep blood, almost burgundy red. 5 petals, and of course the five petals representing like the pentagram for the goddess, and it echoes as well with when you cut an apple open as well. An apple is also a similar symbol, and the apple and the rose also, and same with the hawthorn actually, all come from the same ancestry from a flower point of view. Okay, so we open this up, and then this is the card design in the back. And then this is a bit different in this oracle. I've got this card here, which is the Rose Oracle Attunement. I really wanted to include this this time. It says, on the back of this card, you'll find the Rose Oracle Attunement altar card. So you can keep it on your altar or you can keep it in the book. You can use this attunement to ritually connect with your oracle and Mother Rose each time you use it. And then I've got an audio visual, like a MP3 and video if you want to download it. And there's like a URL to get that. So you can do the attunement with my voice or just by reading it here. So on the back, we've got the attunement. And so, you know, I'm often asked, like, what do you do to prepare before you do a reading? And sometimes I just go straight into the cards. I'll always open some form of sacred space, but particularly before I'm doing readings for other people, like as in really stepping into that space, the intuitive space, I'll do the attunement before. Whereas, you know, and then I'd always do it when I'm activating the deck, so the first time that you're connecting with the deck. But you can also do it like, you know, sometimes energetically it might feel like the deck's really connected with you, and sometimes it might feel like, I need to reconnect here with it. So this is a great way to do it. And then I want to share with you some of the cards. So this is one of my favorites, which is Codes of the Seeds. The blueprint is within you. Take the next step. It really is about like the fertile void of the soil of winter. Those of us in the Northern Hemisphere will be feeling that now. And really the message behind this one is all about the fact that within us we have entire rose gardens and forests and gardens just waiting to be born. So to trust that blueprint within, trust the seed within, trust that the seed has everything it needs within it to bud and bloom and grow, and then when it's time, throw its petals to the wind for the chance to do it all over again. Oh yes, New Earth Woman, I can see you said, I literally just read through your poem, The Codes of the Seeds, from Letters to a Star Seed, and read it on my podcast. Oh, thank you. Yeah, Codes of the Seeds is a beautiful poem, which is, yeah, it's the same energy as this card. This is a beautiful one. The Great Mother. Again, it's the deep depths of the night, the cloak of night, the sureness of the soil. So that's that. And actually my grandmother's hands are in this one in prayer. I'm not sure if you can see up here, which is so lovely. We have Healing the Mother line. Really beautiful, lovely hint to the waters of the mother. This is all about ancestral work. We have the child within. It says, inner mother, innocence, gentleness, tenderness. This is all about taking ourselves into the rose of our own heart, being the mother of the child within. What else? Oh, this is the grandmother's card. If you know my work, you know the grandmothers are an energy I work with. So we've got grandmothers from all corners of the world. And this one is my grandmother, who I just saw in Australia. I dedicated the whole oracle to her. She actually has COVID now, so please pray for her, but she seems to be doing well. Really beautiful. Remember your roots, perspective, trust the weavings. Whichever one do I want to show you? Oh, this is the crowning, which is very initiatory. Crowning being like the metaphoric crowning, the birth crowning, crowning of the baby, of you have that type of birth. It says initiation, thresholds, birth, rebirth, a seat at the table. It says brothers of the rose. And the man up the top is my dear friend Marv, who he works with water consciousness and is just such a beautiful, beautiful man. It says sacred masculine, honor, protection, support. Plant yourself here is this card. This is an uber, uber powerful card. You can feel just the volcanic fire, the inner knowing, integration, embodiment, grounded action. This is a card of like bringing what you are here to bring, following through with the grounded action, really rooting what we came here to seed and plant and grow. This is Lineage of the Rose. I love this card. Moved by the goddess, here for this, soul call, gather. Really beautiful. The reunion, so stunning, this one. We had about, oh my gosh, Katie and I had, I reckon, about 300 versions of this card, all the same but slightly different. This was actually one of the first cards to come through. When I'm working with artists, we'll do a test to start with, just to see like if we work together well and if the energy's there, and then the visuals come through. And this was the first one to come through, along with the Great Mother, and actually a different version of the grandmothers, but it had the water. But yeah, this one was the final card, the card that we completed last, but it had so many, maybe even more than 300 versions. Katie is a Virgo, and I am a Virgo, and so we have a lot of versions of things. Oh, this one is a really powerful one in the deck, really represents so much in this deck. It's called Sub Rosa, which is, I'm going to read you about this one actually, but it says hidden in plain sight, mysteries, learning and teaching. So I'm going to get that one up because this is, yeah, a really, really important concept within the deck. And it really does stand for the mysteries too. The rose has been a symbol of secrecy for millennia. The ancient Romans wore rose garlands on special occasions, and when these were hung above important meeting places, the conversations that took place beneath them were considered sub rosa, or under the rose. It was understood that things said under the rose would be kept secret and not repeated. There's also an image of the ancient Egyptian god Horus sitting with a rose and holding his finger to his lips, symbolizing silence about the deep mysteries. The phrase sub rosa was, or may have its origins in ancient Greece, where in 477 BCE, a secret negotiation took place in a building attached to the Temple of Minerva. And you can see the Temple of Minerva actually in this card. On the building's roof was a rose garden, hence Sub Rosa. Another otherworldly theory of the phrase's origins is linked to Eros, who is said to have bribed Hippocrates. I'm terrible at reading. I'm dyslexic, and so when I'm reading, I'm literally mixing up my letters. Who is the Greek god of silence and secrecy, with a rose to persuade him to remain silent on the affairs of the gods. So this secrecy, this mystery, this hidden beneath the veil, again, is the symbol. The rose is a symbol for that. This card represents the great mysteries that are available for us to uncover and remember. Secrets that are waiting to be found. Teachings that your soul might be ready to learn. Look beyond what your eyes can see and dig a little deeper. You're here to uncover lost wisdom, ancient secrets, and deep mysteries. Are you being called to study the great mysteries yourself? To live the great questions and step into your role as teacher, guide, or mystic? Are you being called to question things and unearth unknown truths? Soul inquiry. What are you being called to study, learn more about, or unearth? So a really, really powerful card here. So this card, this deck really does connect with, it's very feminine. It's really working with the goddess specifically, working with the earth and beauty, and obviously the rose. So it's a wonderful way to kind of unfold into the rose and the goddess connection. You're going to learn a lot about the mystical background of the rose, as well as the healing qualities. There's really three pillars of this oracle, which is mystical, botanical, and healing. So they're the three themes that are running throughout. And yeah, this deck is, I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. The artwork's stunning, but it definitely holds a very powerful frequency within it. And I believe that the rose, this symbol of the rose, the call of the rose, is felt within so many of us. And so if that rose has called you, the rose has called you, whether it's just through being in awe of the beauty or wanting to learn more about it, or feeling called to connect with the goddess, maybe it's a specific goddess like Venus or Aphrodite, perhaps it's the Black Madonna or Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, so many. Yeah, that's really what this deck is really all about. As always, there's the combination of connecting with both the divine and the human. So receiving guidance, inspiration, but then acting on it. So bringing it into interaction, into integration, I should say. Jet lag. So yeah, so I'm very, very happy to share a little bit of this oracle with you guys. And yeah, I'm just going to check some of your questions. Yeah, so Mystical Mermaid Light says Isis, Kuan Yin, exactly. Ishtar. Just checking. Okay, so I'm just going to pull a card for us all right now. So if we just connect in and just ask from the center of your heart. If you would like to, you can ask a question or whisper an area of your life if you would like to receive a card. And it'll be a card for the collective as well as the individual. Okay, one popped out here. Plant yourself here. I showed you this one before. Integration, embodiment, grounded action. So I'm going to read this one out. As I said, again, a really, really powerful one in the deck. I'm sure you can feel, I remember the feeling I got when I first saw this one. There is in the background, layered in here, obviously the roots of the rose, as well as there's some ancient Gallicas, thorns, as well as the beautiful bloom as well. This lovely orange color too. And the very, very powerful woman embodying all that she is in the center there. And so if you like, you can take a deep breath and place your hand on your heart if you would like to receive the energy of this card. And I'm just going to hold up the picture. Invite your soul to come all the way in, from your knees to your nose, your cheeks to your toes. Fully embody your life. Drop the defensive walls. Let your soul land and occupy each and every cell. Anchor all parts of you into the here and now. Life is here even when death is here. Birth isn't possible without it. And you came here to birth this world anew. Don't you remember? Fully commit to living this life. Put your 2 feet and your ancient soul wholly and completely in. This is the card of the ones who's committed to being the bridge between heaven and earth. The embodied mystic. The embodied mystic. They know they don't need to denounce either heaven or earth. Rather, they are a weaver of worlds, here to embody their soul more and more with each new day, here to weave the sacred back into everyday life. This card is an invitation to commit more fully to your life as a soul having a human experience, to invite your soul to grow roots that reach deep so that you can grow tall, to commit to your humanity and your expansion all at once. The rose invites us to embrace all stages of life on earth, from the buds to the bloom, from the cutting back to the fruit. Her beauty and sweet scent are an embodiment of heaven, a nectarous reward for being here. The rose reminds us to take a moment to properly enjoy the sweetness and remember that heaven really can be a place on earth. And so the soul inquiry here, and I invite you to answer this soul inquiry in the comments. How can you commit more to your life? How can you commit more to your life? How can you commit more to your life? So that's the soul inquiry here. How can you commit more to your life? How can you commit more to your life? Plant yourself here. So yes, I will use this deck for the 2-card readings coming up. We haven't begun with the 2-card readings with the Rose Oracle just yet because we're waiting on our delivery, but it will be happening. So I'll make that announcement on email first, and then on social as well. So yeah, you will be able to get the personal readings using the Rose Oracle. So we've got some beautiful soul inquiry answers here. This is amazing. Wonderful. Oh, well, thank you so much for being here with me and helping me, I guess, celebrate that the Rose Oracle is here. It's the official launch date is the 2nd of March. This is it here. It's available for pre-order. Often it gets sent out before the actual launch day, but that is what they're telling me, 2nd of March. And I'll be doing a Rose Oracle activation event which will happen on the 9th. So it's a whole week later, just to make sure that your decks have arrived. And so with the activation event, we'll also send a replay. I'll walk you through activating your deck, and we'll do a beautiful ceremony connecting with Mother Rose and goddesses of old and many more. And the beautiful Katie, she is luminous, is here on Instagram. Love you. Have been talking about you and our Virgo-ness, Katie. But yeah, so thank you so much. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And I'll be back again same time next week. And I'll do lots of readings, 1-card pulls next week. So I'll promise I'll get through a lot of them. So sending you all lots of love and have a wonderful day. Mwah.